Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. We were reading Surah Al-Shu'ara and we had reached up to the second ruku of Surah Al-Shu'ara, ayat number 33. Hazrat Musa ala Nabiyuna wa alayhi salatu was salam came to Firaun, and during the conversation Firaun asked, Wama Rabbul Alameen? O Musa, you mentioned that Inna Rasulu Rabbil Alameen, we are Rasul and messengers of Rabbul Alameen. Then what is Rabbul Alameen? He asked this question because he himself used to call himself Ana Rabbukumul A'la, I am your greatest Rabb, highest Rabb, I have the highest rank. And why did he call him the one with the highest rank? Because the Egyptians themselves were polytheists and they used to worship scores of idols and gods, if not hundreds. They had many different gods for every need to be fulfilled. So Firaun said, these are gods made from stones and wood, and I am the greatest God. So when Musa alayhi salam said, Inna Rasulu Rabbil Alameen, he said, who is your Rabb? In other words, he said, Musa, I am the greatest Rabb because you, Rabb is that one who does tarbiyat and brings up. And we brought you up in our house. I am your Rabb. You should call me your Rabb, not Rabbul Alameen. Who is Rabbul Alameen who sent you? So this is why he asked the question, Wama Rabbul Alameen? So Musa alayhi salam said, Rabbus samawati wal ardi wama baynahuma in kuntum muqinin. He is the Lord of the heavens and the earth and whatever is in between, if you were to be convinced. Musa alayhi salam said that you are showing me your kingdom on this land of Egypt, which is only a small country, small land compared to the whole universe. So you might call yourself Rabb, but my Rabb is the Rabb of not only a small land, he is the Rabb of the heavens and the earth. Rabbus samawati wal ard wama baynahuma in kuntum muqinin. Now Firaun said, Qala liman hawlahu wa la tastami'un? Do you not hear what this man is saying? So Musa alayhi salam said, Rabbukum wa Rabbu abaikum al-awwaleen. He is your Rabb and the Rabb of your earlier forefathers. Musa alayhi salam meant to say, O Firaun, you might call yourself Rabbukumul A'la. Then what about your forefathers who came before you when you were not even born? Who was their Rabb then? Their Rabb at that time, the Lord of your earlier forefathers, it was Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That same Allah is your Rabb and is my Rabb. Rabbukum wa Rabbu abaikum al-awwaleen. So he said, Inna Rasulakum alladhi ursila ilaykum la majnoon. Surely this Rasul who has been sent to you is mad. You see how he is talking in front of me? Nobody dares to talk to me like that. And he is talking to me in this manner. So Musa alayhi salam said, Rabbul mashriqi wal maghribi wa ma baynahuma in kuntum ta'qilun. He is the Lord of the east and the west and whatever is in between, if you had some aql and logic and understanding. He is the Lord of the east and the west. He brings out the sun from the east and causes it to set in the west. You can't do that. How can you be Rabb? Do you have any control over the sun? Of rising it and setting it? My Lord has control over the sun and takes it out from Mashriq and sets it in Maghrib and whatever is in between. In kuntum ta'qilun. Now, when Firaun saw that, they had no arguments left, and Musa alayhi salam was fully convinced, and he was putting forward his dalil with great force, and Firaun could not argue within that dalil which Musa alayhi salam was putting forward. This is what Allah has said in another place. بَلْ نَقْذِفُ بِالْحَقِّ عَلَى الْبَاطِلِ فَيَدْمَغُهُ فَإِذَا هُوَ الزَّاهِرُ. We force the haqq onto the batil, और batil का भेजा फोड़ देता है. दमागा के माना दिमाग फोड़ देना. And the haqq comes with such force that it crushes the brain of batil. فَإِذَا هُوَ الزَّاهِرُ. And the batil is gaya guzra, mita hua, is annihilated and wiped out. So the batil claim and false claim of Fir'aun was totally annihilated. He has no argument left. Now, what does a person do when he is cornered? He's got nothing left. He starts threatening. So he starts threatening Musa alayhi salam. قَالَ لَإِنِ اتَّخَذْتَ إِلَهًا غَيْرِي لَأَجْعَلَنَّكَ مِنَ الْمَسْجُونِينَ. Musa, if you take any other god beside me, I'm going to put you into prison. You're going to go prison, visit my prison. Do you know how hard, harsh and how severe my prison and that dungeon is? Pharaoh's dungeon and his prison was really harsh, really hard. Seldom would any person come out of there alive. Whoever would go in there, it would be dark, small, no food. After a few days, that person would die. So I'm going to send you to that prison if you don't obey me. So Musa alayhi salam said, أَوَلَوْ جِئْتُكَ بِشَيْءٍ مُبِينٍ. Would you do that even if I were to bring to you a clear sign, an open, something very clear and open? So Pharaoh thought to himself, oh, now Musa is coming to a compromise. So he also became a bit soft. And he said, okay, فَأْتِ بِهِ إِن كُنْتَ مِنَ الصَّادِقِينَ. Bring your clear sign and prove if you are from the truthful. فَأَلْقَى عَصَاهُ فَإِذَا هِيَ ثُعْبَانٌ مُبِينٌ. Musa alayhi salam threw his staff and it was a clear serpent. وَنَزَعَ يَدَهُ فَإِذَا هِيَ بَيْضَاءُ لِلنَّاظِرِينَ. G. فَأَلْقَى عَصَاهُ فَإِذَا هِيَ ثُعْبَانٌ مُبِينٌ. Musa alayhi salam threw his rod and it was a serpent manifest. So he gave him the first sign, and this was throwing the asa. And Mufassirin say that as soon as he threw his staff down, turned into a snake and zoom rushed towards Fir'aun. And Fir'aun jumped from his throne and hid behind, and he said, "Bachao, bachao, bachao, help, 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 help." And those around him, his servants, his attendants, they also started running around here and there. There was a chaos.
No.
The Fir'aun was scared. Musa alayhi salam just gently took hold of the snake and he turned back into a stick. Now, Fir'aun was terrified. He was shaken. And maybe this is why he didn't order the police and the attendants to grab hold of Musa and send him to prison, as he had threatened. Because he got scared that if he throws it again and the serpent eats me up, what's going to happen to me? Then he said, Musa alayhi salam showed him another sign. وَنَزَعَ يَدَهُ فَإِذَا هِيَ بَيْضَاءُ لِلنَّاظِرِينَ. He drew forth his hand and it was white unto the beholders. Meaning he put his hand under his armpit and took it out and it was shining and bright.
No.
Like a tube light maybe. It's shining, there's noor in there. And everybody is ajeeb, amazed. How can a hand of a human being turn into a shining light? There's no battery in there, there's no bulb in there. So this was a miracle. And then he put it back in under his armpit and it comes into its original state. So, like the normal human hand. So, Musa alayhi salam showed two miracles. One was hissi, the turning of changing of a staff to snake, and the other was nurani, which Fir'aun could not copy. Maybe he might be able to bring that something like the serpent, which he did with the magics, but he would not be able to copy the hand miracle which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had given Musa ala nabiyina wa alayhi salatu wassalam. So this was a miracle. And when were these two miracles given? When he was traveling from Madian to Egypt. And it was dark at night. And he went to get some light from there. So Allah gave him that miracle so that in the darkness he would put his hand and dig it out. It would be acting like a torch. And he could see where he wanted to go. So this was such a miracle which was not given to any other prophets. And these types of miracles happen sometimes to the Sahaba, but to their stick, not to their hands. There is in the Karamat, Babu Karamat is Sahaba, Usayd ibn Huzayr radiyallahu anhu and another Sahabi. They were both in the company of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and somehow the session prolonged and darkness fell and it was late at night before they left Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam's gathering. So when they were going home, it was really, really dark. There was no moonlight, no stars, nothing, and they were scared to go walk. So suddenly, the stick which one of them was carrying turned bright, and they could see in the light where they were going. And they continued in the direction. And when they came to a place where their roads were separating, the stick in the hand of the other person also turned bright. So both sticks were bright, and they both in the light of that stick arrived at their homes. So this is miracle from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And it so happens with the Sahaba with some awliyaullah as well. As Sayyiduna Pirani Pir Abdul Qadir Jilani rahmatullahi alayhi. I was reading among his karamat. One of his karamat is, and once in a similar situation, Hazrat Pirani Pir rahmatullahi alayhi was carrying a stick, and Hazrat put it inside the earth with saying Bismillah, and it turned bright, and there was light coming out of it, and there was everything around it was shining, and they were at ease. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala showed this type of miracle in the walking stick or staff for others. But with Musa alayhi salam, he showed him that miracle in his hand. So these two miracles he showed Pharaoh that this is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given me these signs. These are for you to accept and believe that this is not my work, it's the work of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now, rather than accepting, Pharaoh was stubborn, haughty, arrogant, proudy, rejective, and with his takabbur and pride and stubbornness, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, قَالَ لِلْمَلَيْ حَوْلَهُ إِنَّ هَذَا لَسَاحِرٌ عَلِيمٌ. He said to the chiefs around him, verily this magician is very learned, knowledgeable. He called Musa alayhi salam Sahir, he is a magician, and he said Alim, learned, meaning he has practiced his magic for a long time, that he can suddenly work his magic. Magicians also take time to do their magic. They need to practice some voodoo, and then their magic comes to effect. And this person's magic is coming into effect immediately. So he is very learned. He is a master technician. So he said, this magician is very learned. يُرِيدُ أَن يُخْرِجَكُم مِّنْ أَرْضِكُم بِسِحْرِهِ فَمَاذَا تَأْمُرُونَ. He wants to drive you out of your land through his magic. What is it that you then command? What is your mashwara? Tell me, give me your mashwara. Now, this is the trick which Pharaoh used thousands of years ago. And this trick is used even today as well. What Pharaoh was trying to say was that Moses is only here for his political gains. He wants to overpower me and take control of my land. And drive you out of here and give Bani Israel the power over you. He wants to make you the ghulam and slaves, and he wants to make the Bani Israel the rulers. That is what everybody used to say with regards to the prophets, and that is what he used to say with regards to any reformer that came after them. Even today as well. Maulana Abdul Majid Daryabadi says, this is a device well known to the politicians all the world over. That whenever a person comes, they would say that, he wants to drive us out and take over us. So, قالوا أرجه وأخاه وبعث في المدائن حاشرين. So the chiefs who were being consulted said, أرجه, put him off, give him a little bit of respite, and his brother, and وبعث في المدائن حاشرين, send some callers into the cities. يأتوك بكل سحار عليم, so that they may bring to you every learned and knowledgeable magician. فَجُمِعَ السَّحَرَةُ لِمِيقَاتِ يَوْمٍ مَعْلُومٍ. And so the magicians were assembled at a set time on a day made known. So their mashwara was that Arjih, give him some respite, let him cool down. And وَبَعَثْ فِي الْمَدَائِنِ حَاشِرِينَ, in the meantime send some callers unto the cities around Egypt. Because in Egypt there were plenty of magicians, but around Egypt as well there were plenty. So he said, gather all the magicians. So Musa will be alone, and in front of him will be thousands. So Musa will be scared and he will be overpowered. So this was their plot that bring every great magician who is learned. So the magicians were gathered for the time of a fixed day, a day made known to everybody. How many magicians were gathered? Ibn Kathir has narrated various narrations from Israeliyat. Allah knows best. One version is 12,000. Another is 15,000. Another is 20,000.
No.
And there is another version of 80,000 as well. Let's take the lowest figure of 12,000 magicians were assembled in order to combat and to tackle one person, Sayyiduna Musa ala nabiyyina wa alayhi salatu wasalam. And the day of Eid was fixed. That the day of Eid, the Mela, is at so and so. So that special day of festival is the day in which the competition and the muqabala will take place. وَقِيلَ لِلنَّاسِ هَلْ أَنْتُمْ مُجْتَمِعُونَ. An announcement was made and it was said to the people, are you going to assemble? Are you going to assemble on that day? مَوْعِدُكُمْ يَوْمُ الزِّينَةِ وَأَنْ يُحْشَرَ النَّاسُ ضُحًى. So the whole Egypt came, because this was an invitation of Pharaoh. So now there were millions of people there, and in a huge arena, in a gathering, the Pharaoh is there, all the chiefs are there, and the magicians are there. Everybody is gathered. They were gathered, and it was said, لَعَلَّنَا نَتَّبِعُ السَّحَرَةَ إِنْ كَانُوا هُمُ الْغَالِبِينَ. It is possible and very likely that we will follow the magicians if they are winners. Now, even over here in this call as well, Pharaoh's intention is not to follow Musa. If he had any intention of accepting Musa as truth, Allah would have guided him. But if from the beginning his mind is set that whatever happens, we're not going to follow Musa, we have to follow the magicians. So we will follow the magicians if they are victorious. قال نعم فلما جاء السحرة قالوا لفرعون أئن لنا لأجرا إن كنا نحن الغالبين. Then when the magicians came, they said to Pharaoh, will there be a big reward for us if we are the winners? Will you give us some reward? They were worried about their livelihood, their money. We are making such an effort, hard work. We will be rewarded. قال نعم وإنكم إذا لمن المقربين. He said, yes. Not only will you get reward, you shall be of those who are brought nigh and who are from our muqarrabeen and brought closer to us. So they said, okay. قال لهم موسى ألقوا ما أنتم ملقون. Musa alayhi salam said to them, cast down whatever you have to cast. Over here, Allah has shortened it. In Surah Al-Shu'ara, Allah has mentioned, فَلَمَّا جَاءَ السَّحَرَةُ قَالُوا لِفِرْعَوْنَ إِنَّ لَنَا لَأَجْرًا نَحْنُ الْغَالِبِينَ قَالَ مَنْ الْمُقَرَّبِينَ قالوا يا موسى إما أن تلقي وإما أن نكون نحن الملقين قال ألقوا. They asked Musa alayhi salam, Musa, are you going to throw your stuff and show your stuff first, or shall we show ours first? So Mufassirin have written a nukta over here, point, that they had some adab of Musa alayhi salam, respect for Musa alayhi salam. And maybe it was because of this respect that Allah gave them hidayat and guidance. So they said, Musa, do you want to go first or shall we go first? Musa alayhi salam said, you go first. So then they threw their stuff. And I explained in the Tafseer of Surah Taha that they had a particular way of working that magic. They had some bamboo sticks which are hollow from the middle, and they had some belts which were painted like a snake skin, like the color of a snake and the shape of a snake. And the sticks and the belts, the hollow part of that was filled with something like mercury, zibaq. And when heat is put upon it, then it starts to go up and it starts to float and move. So this is what happened, that it was the time of duha, forenoon, and the heat was getting intense. And they knew that in that intensity of the heat, they can work their magic, and this is how they work the magic. In Surah Taha, Allah said, يُخَيَّلُ إِلَيْهِ مِنْ سِحْرِهِمْ أَنَّهَا تَسْعَى. It was made seeming to the congregation that those snakes are moving around. Whereas in reality, nothing had changed. They were the sticks and they were the leather belts, and nothing was moving, but people thought that, oh, this is something moving over here. So the spell was bound on the congregation who thought that there are snakes moving over here. And because there were 12,000 magicians, so there must be that amount of snakes there as well. And people were scared. People were scared of seeing so many movements of snake-like things and moving around. So فَأَلْقَوْا حِبَالَهُمْ وَعِصِيَّهُمْ وَقَالُوا بِعِزَّةِ فِرْعَوْنَ إِنَّا لَنَحْنُ الْغَالِبُونَ. Then they cast down their robes and their staffs and said, by the might of Fir'aun, we shall be the victors. فَأَلْقَى مُوسَى عَصَاهُ فَإِذَا هِيَ تَلْقَفُ مَا يَأْفِكُونَ. Then Musa alayhi salam cast his rod, and lo, it swallowed up whatever they had invented. Musa alayhi salam's snake swallowed up all that which they threw. The snake went zoom, and like a vacuum cleaner, suck up everything. So, when they saw this, that the Musa alayhi salam's work has sucked up everything and it's eaten up everything. And where is our sticks gone? Where is our leather belts gone? And Musa alayhi salam got hold of the stick of the snake again and turned back to stick. So they said, thousands of sticks and thousands of bells, where have they gone? And they immediately, Allah is saying, فَأُلْقِيَ السَّحَرَةُ سَاجِدِينَ. The magicians flung themselves into prostration. They just fell down into sajda, surrendered. And they said, آمَنَّا بِرَبِّ الْعَالَمِينَ رَبِّ مُوسَى وَهَارُونَ. We have believed in Rabbul Alameen, the Rabb of Musa and Harun. In other words, Fir'aun, you are not Rabb. You can say whatever you like. Rabb is Rabbul Alameen, the Rabb of Musa and Harun. We believe in that Rabb. And when they said this, Allahu Akbar, Fir'aun saw the tides turning against him. So immediately he calls upon the army and police and everyone here, and he warns them. He warns these magicians. Fir'aun said to them, قَالَ آمَنْتُمْ لَهُ قَبْلَ أَنْ آذَنَ لَكُمْ. You believed in him before you take my permission. إِنَّهُ لَكَبِيرُكُمُ الَّذِي عَلَّمَكُمُ السِّحْرَ. Surely he is your chief who taught you magic. فَلَسَوْفَ تَعْلَمُونَ. You shall surely find out. لَوْقَطِّعَنَّ أَيْدِيَكُمْ وَأَرْجُلَكُمْ مِنْ خِلَافٍ وَلَوْصَلِّبَنَّكُمْ أَجْمَعِينَ. I shall certainly cut off your hands and feet on the opposite sides, and certainly I shall crucify you, all of you. قَالُوا لَا ضَيْرٍ. They said, no harm. إِنَّا إِلَىٰ رَبِّنَا مُنْقَلِبُونَ. Surely we are to return to our Lord. إِنَّا نَطْمَعُ أَنْ يَغْفِرَ لَنَا رَبُّنَا خَطَايَانَا أَنْ كُنَّا أَوَّلَ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ. We long and hope that our Lord will forgive us our faults and mistakes, as we have been the first of believers. So all the Sahara magicians, they accepted. Fir'aun said, oh, this is your planning, that before you came here, you and Musa, ये तुम्हारी मिली भगत है. तुमने मिलकर प्लान किया है मुझे गिराने के लिए. You made this plot before you came here. I'm going to murder you all. Now what happened after that, Quran doesn't mention what happened. But Ibn Kathir and others have narrated that Fir'aun did crucify all the magicians and he killed them. And Surah Al-Taha, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned that the magician said that we inna amanna bi rabbina liyaghfir lana khatayana wa ma akrahtana alayhi min as-sihr wallahu khayrun wa abqa innahu man yati rabbahu mujriman fa inna lahu jahannam la yamutu fiha wa la yahya wa man yati mu'minan qad amila as-salihat fa ulaika lahum ad-darajatu al-ula jannatu 'adnin tajri min tahtiha al-anharu khalidina fiha wa dhalika jazaa'u man tazakka. So they believed, they brought iman, and immediately they were the sabiqeen al-awwaleen, and they got the high ranks among the Sahaba of Musa alayhi salam. Similarly, the Sahaba of Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the Sabiqeen awwaleen, they have the highest ranks. And these magicians, they also believe they were Sabiqeen awwaleen, the earliest four ones. So Allah gave them the highest ranks. And now, after the next ruku, Allah mentions how Musa alayhi salam took Bani Israel out of there and how Fir'aun was drowned. We'll pray that after namaz or next week. What do you reckon? Finish off the story of Musa alayhi salam, or maybe next week? Next week?
Next week. Next week.
Okay.